me. Welcome to our meeting of October the 15th. My name is Barbara Andalena and I am the city clerk. I am just asking if you are interested in speaking on any of the agenda items or you wish to speak at the second public forum on an item, please fill out the blue cards and hand them in to me as soon as possible. We prefer to have these done prior to the meeting so as not to disrupt it as it's going on. Thank you very much.
Good evening. The North Las Vegas City Council welcomes you to a City Council meeting this evening. If you wish to speak, we have these blue cards on the end of the dais over here. And if you'll fill them out, like the clerk said, accurately, it'll make their job a little easier because they'll put this into the minutes here. And there's also some blue cards in the main entrance out in the back. Please give the card to the city clerk and she'll make sure that the Mayor Pro Tem gets it. When I call upon you to speak, we request that you limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes, and you can avoid some repetition. We'd appreciate that. Madam Clerk, are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
We are in compliance.
Thank you very much. Tonight, we're blessed to have our invocation given by Elder Nick. Oh, no. Nick, is this you? Yeah, okay. Nick Davey of Grace Point Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to be given by Hayden Gaxalia, Troop 775. Would you please stand?
Good evening. Will you bow your heads and head as I pray? Dear gracious and merciful Father, thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor and bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thank you as well for freedom. Thank you for the freedom that was paid by so many that we may gather here freely. Thank you for loving us from your boundless and gracious nature, no matter of race, gender, ethnicity, or religion. We are grateful. In the scriptures you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. I am asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the problems of this great city faces today, a sense of welfare and true needs of our people, confidence in what is right and just, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, and personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. God, I pray for this agenda set before them today. We ask for a great measure of wisdom, discernment, and grace today and the days ahead of us. I ask for favor on our beloved city of North Las Vegas. God, please bless our time together. It is in your most blessed and holy name, Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. We appreciate you coming down this evening and giving us that blessing. Also, to Troop 775, thank you guys for being here this evening. They're working on the Citizenship and the Community Merit Badge tonight. They have two terrific leaders, and we're excited about seeing you guys right after the meeting. That'd be great. This is the first of the two portions dedicated to the public. This portion is for that's limited to matters that are on the agenda. So is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council right now? Come to the podium. I have no blue cards available. Seeing no one, I'll close public hearing. The agenda, Madam Clerk.
Approval of the regular city council meeting agenda of October 15, 2014 for possible action.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have the agenda in order. Recommendations for approval.
Thank you very much, Council. Any comments or questions on tonight's agenda? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote.
Mayor and Council, since it's not quite 6:15, I'm going to go to the consent agenda, please.
Okay.
Consent agenda. Matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be approved by a single motion. However, any consent item may be moved to the business portion of the agenda for discussion at the request of any council member.
Mayor and Council, consent agenda consists of items number 5 through 11. The recommendation is for approval.
Thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. There we go.
This time we'll go back to the public hearing notices. Public hearing, excuse me.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 2, UN 3214, Dollar Loan Center, an application submitted by David Gallion for Dollar Loan Center on behalf of Rainbow Commercial LLC, property owner, for a special use permit in a C2 General Commercial District to allow an auto title loan establishment on property located at 4669 West Ann Road for possible action.
All right, thank you very much. I will open up a public, well, let me have your discussion first. I have 3 items for you, and I just got ahead of myself. Okay.
Dave Gallion, 8860 West Sunset Road. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Here to answer any questions you may have in regards to the matter at hand.
Great, thank you very much. Dave, I'll ask, is there anybody who would like from the public to come up and discuss this item? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Council, any comments or questions or approval of this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote.
Item number 3, UN 3314, Dollar Loan Center, an application submitted by David Gallion for Dollar Loan Center on behalf of Sarah Vegas LLC, property owner, for a special use permit in a C1 neighborhood commercial district to allow an auto title loan establishment on property located at 2445 West Craig Road for possible action.
Great, we're ready for your presentation.
Dave Gallion, 8860 West Sunset Road, here to answer any questions you may have in regards to the matter.
Great, thank you very much. I'll open this up for public hearing on this item. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote.
Next item, UN 3614, Dollar Loan Center, an application submitted by David Gallion for Dollar Loan Center on behalf of Inland Diversified North Las Vegas LOSI LLC, property owner, for a special use permit in a C2 General Commercial District to allow an auto title loan establishment on property located at 2590 East Craig Road, Suite 110 for possible action.
Great, David, we're having an agenda crisis day. Could you make your presentation a little easier for us?
Dave Gallion, 8860 West Sunset Road, here to answer any questions you may have in regards to the matter.
I'll open a public hearing on this item. Anybody wish to speak? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. Council, any comments or questions to approve this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you, council. I feel kind of bad. I left Councilman Wagner at it this evening, so you have a good evening.
First item under business, item number 12, issuance of a purchase order to Branch Hernandez and Associates in the amount of $287,819 for the fiscal year 2014-2015 coverage of excess liability insurance for all city employees for possible action.
Thank you very much.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a correction to the dollar amount from the $287,819 to $320,835 due to increased coverage for this insurance. That's why we have to increase that dollar amount by approximately $33,000. I'd also like to point out this is a reduction of $106,000 from the previous year with increased coverage. With that, the recommendation is for approval.
Oh, thank you very much. That sounds like good news. Council, any comments or questions on this item?
Well, if I may?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what happened between posting and now that the amount's changed?
Mr. Adair, could you come forward too?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Between the time that we actually got the original proposal, we had rebid the coverage that we had from the prior year. And in that process, also asked our brokers and our advisor to review the coverages that would be available to the city that are out there, some expanded coverages. And in so doing, we looked at those, and there were a couple that we felt that we were undercovered on, and made the decision to recommend those.
Since we had a savings, you decided to use some of the savings to beef up some of the underfunded areas.
Areas that are exposed that aren't covered.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions for Mr. Adair or Branch Hernandez? Thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Thank you, gentlemen, for all you do for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councilman.
Mayor, City Council, thank you.
Item number 13, staff to nominate 3 projects for round 15 of the Southern Nevada Public Land Management Act special account funding for parks, trails, and natural areas for possible action.
Okay. Mayor and Council, Johanna is going to make a very brief presentation on those 3 projects.
Yes. Good evening. The BLM has opened the application period for round 15 of SNPLMA. Eligible jurisdictions may submit up to 3 project nominations. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is recommending the city nominate Kyle Ranch, Phase 3B, Spring Access. This project would construct the northeast portion of the elevated boardwalk connecting the northern half of the park to the historic end of the park. There's approximately 18-foot grade differential between the 2 areas of the park. The boardwalk would also help protect the sensitive habitat while allowing park visitors to view the wildlife and the spring habitat. Project number 2 would be to construct an additional large group picnic shelter and picnic facilities at Nature Discovery Park. This type of facility is in really high demand in our city, and the park receives extremely heavy use, especially on holiday weekends when there's an additional 10 to 12,000 park visitors for each of the 12 holiday weekends we have. And then the 3rd project is for El Dorado Park, and this would be to construct shade canopies over the new playground equipment that's going to be installed this year, plus construct 3 additional picnic facilities at El Dorado Park, thus increasing our capacity for family picnics in this area. Staff tonight is asking for authorization to submit 3 project applications. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions on the SNPLMA funding?
Move to approve right away. And we wish you great luck.
Thank you.
Please cast your vote. Good motion.
Thank you.
Good luck, Johanna. Thank you so much. Now just bring them all back.
Next item, reallocation of fiscal year 2009, 2010, and 2010 and 2011 home investment partnership funds in the amount of $1,450,000 for the acquisition, rehabilitation, and resale rental projects, and authorize the city manager or her designee to enter into appropriate agreements for approved programs and projects as required for possible action.
Mayor? May I?
She was going to read that first.
I think do I not need to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, there's one correction we need to make on this agenda item. That's the first word on the announcement. We need to replace the word relocation with allocation of the funds. And we also like to split the item into 2 motions. The first motion would be staff recommends that the City Council approves the allocation of $400,000 of home funds to the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority and $250,000 of home funds to Rebuilding Together, and authorize the interim city manager or designee to enter into appropriate agreements approved programs projects as required. But now we can vote them separately.
Thank you.
Okay. Or do we want to do the vote for the first part and then
Yes. If,
This will be, let me take the, you're right, because you can vote on this portion.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Staff recommends that the city approve the allocation of $400,000 of home funds to the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority and $250,000 to the home funds of Rebuilding Together, and authorize the city manager or designee to enter into appropriate agreements of approved programs and projects as required. That's correct, right?
That is.
Thank you. Council, any other comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll move to approve the first motion. Please cast your vote. Oh, I never do that yet. Okay. I just look and look.
Mayor and Council, just for clarity, the way that the agenda item was posted was to allocate the entire $1.45 million to approximately 3 different agencies. But because we have one council member that serves on a board, she's going to have to abstain from the allocation of that amount to that agency. So we separated in 2 different motions so that we could have as many people voting on as many funds as possible. And so I think Mayor Pro Tem now has a statement before the second motion.
Yes, I do. Mayor, NRS 281A.420 requires me to disclose a conflict of interest. Item 14 affects my commitment in a private capacity to the interests of Neighborhood Housing Services of Southern Nevada. I'm a past board member, and I currently serve as a member of their governance board. NHS is a potential recipient of grant funding from the city in this item. Therefore, I conclude that the independence of judgment of a reasonable person in my situation would be materially affected by this relationship, and to avoid the appearance of a disqualifying conflict of interest, I am going to be abstaining from voting on whether to allocate home funds to NHS.
Thank you, duly noted. So the second motion, staff, now that we've separated her from this one, the staff recommends that the city approve the allocation of $800,000 to Nevada Housing Services for the acquisition, rehabilitation, and resale of eligible homes and the retrofit of rehabilitated of single and multifamily units, and authorize the city manager or designee to enter into appropriate agreements of approved programs and projects as required. So we have, that is the proper motion for this now. We understand you're abstaining. Council, any other comments or questions on this item? The chair will take a motion.
Move.
Please cast your vote.
Next item, item number 15, Professional Engineering Services Agreement with Advantage Civil Design Group, LLP, in an amount not to exceed $290,000, funded by the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Fuel Revenue Index Index Fund to provide professional design services for the Cary Avenue Complete Street Project, CIP project number 10397, for possible action.
Thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote.
Hold on.
Next item, agreement with First Data Government Solutions, LP, in an amount not to exceed $75,352.19 from the Utility Enterprise Fund, using the competitive bidding exception per NRS 332 Local Government Purchasing Act to upgrade the utility department's interactive voice response and interactive web response utility application to new hardware and system software, and to reduce the PayPoint transaction processing fee from 35 cents per transaction to 30 cents per transaction for credit card and check payments, for possible action.
Thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote.
Ordinances for final action. Ordinance number 2690, An ordinance related to zoning amending Section 010 of Chapter 16 of Title 17 of the City of North Las Vegas Municipal Code by reclassifying approximately 3.23 plus minus acres therein from an M2 General Industrial District to a C2 General Commercial District, ZN 0914, Cheyenne Simmons Food Court, for properties located at 2665, 2770, 2755, and 2885 West Cheyenne Avenue, southeast corner of Cheyenne Avenue and Simmons Street, and providing for other matters properly relating thereto, for possible action.
Thank you very much, council. Any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll
Move
take
to
a
approve.
motion. Thank you very much. Please cast your vote.
Item number 18, ordinance number 2691, an ordinance related to zoning amending Section 010 of Chapter 16 of Title 17 of the City of North Las Vegas Municipal Code by reclassifying approximately 2.34 acres therein from an OL Open Land District to an M2 General Industrial District, ZN 1014 Madlock Holdings, for property generally located approximately 330 feet north of Azure Avenue and west of Beasley Drive, and providing for other matters properly relating thereto, for possible action.
Thank you very much, council. Any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. On item number 19, I'm waiting for some information back from somebody to be on that committee. Can I push that off for 2 more weeks?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Do you need to read it, or?
Yeah, I will read it for the
Okay.
record, and then
Okay.
you've made the suggestion on what you'd like to do with that item, but let me read it, please.
Okay.
This is for an appointment of an at-large citizen member to the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Bus Shelter and Bench Advisory Committee for a 1-year term ending November 1, 2015, tabled September 3rd, 17, and October 1st, 2014, and this was for possible action.
Once again, I would like to postpone this for 2 more weeks, if I might. Thank you very much. Could you give me just 1 second before we go into city manager's report? Oh, yeah. Please cast, we don't have to vote on that if we're moving it, do we?
Yes,
Do we
you still have to make
okay.
a motion to table it to the next item.
Yeah,
or next
that's my
meeting.
motion,
Yes.
and I apologize for that, staff.
Hit the make motion.
Okay. Yeah. Pardon me, we're just.
Excuse me, Mayor. We're just noting up there that I think inadvertently the no is showing for your vote. May we change it to yes?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I got kind of involved in a sidebar conversation up here. I'm sorry. City manager's report.
Looks like we're going to have a record short council meeting tonight. I really want to make a very brief comment to recognize the extraordinary effort made by our staff at the development and the community development and compliance department, as well as others from other departments that we have assigned to assist in this major undertake. I also would like to congratulate the mayor and council for a very efficient meeting yesterday. So we beat everyone with our service as well as our efficiency. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, and that's your report. Council items. Did council have any items they'd like to discuss?
I do.
Please go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't know if I see the chief back there. What I do. Chief, I know that we have made a general rule of not providing crossing guards for middle schools and higher. But I'm still getting a lot of complaints at Craig and I believe it's Craig and Farrell, that crosswalk. It's Craig Road and people are just not stopping for the kids as they're crossing. Is there something, can we do something with traffic or possibility even consider crossing guards for that one? Because apparently it's still pretty dangerous out there.
Mayor Pro Tem Joe Cronister, yes, what I'll do is I'll have our traffic folks get a hold of Alyssa over in traffic engineering and see what exactly, traditionally there's a study done prior to. I'm certain that a study's going to warrant it at that location for certain, but I will definitely have those two parties get together and determine what our course of action is going to be in doing so.
Well, thank you, and I'm sure former Mayor Pro Tem William Robinson was one of the people that I had complaining about that, and I'm sure he'll thank you too.
I will call him myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other council?
Oh, I have one other one before.
me?
The other is, can I request, we had talked about it, Commissioner Chris June Kiliani coming and talking about feral cats and their program in the county, and then we got busy with other things, including medical marijuana, and she wasn't able to come. Can we get that rescheduled for one of the meetings in November?
Yes, we'll reach out.
Has she asked to come back? Because she told me she'd call me when she's ready, but you might want to just call her and see if she's ready to come back.
I can do that too,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, that was a conversation I do.
Oh, the last, okay,
She
that's
said,
fine.
I'll let you know when, but if you take care of it, that'd be great.
Well, that, or can we just start moving on, whether she makes a presentation or not, because we could kind of started things, and things got put on hold waiting for her to come, so,
Oh, you can proceed.
okay,
Yeah, okay, that'd be fine.
that's what I need to know, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Wagner?
Just for your information, Mayor Pro Tem Wood and myself attended last, I believe it was Monday morning, the kickoff of the senior games out in Sun City, Aliante, for the pickleball tournament. I'd never seen pickleball played before. There are people from all over the country here to participate. They had, I guess, locations all over the city doing different soccer, softball, or whatever. That they were doing for their senior games, and anyway, it was interesting. And then we also held a town hall out there, an informative discussion that with all, a lot of residents of Sun City and the Aliante area, probably 100 to 110 people were there, I'm guessing, and we had a good discussion. So that's.
Councilmember Owen?
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. I just wanted, this was directed at the chief. Recently, of course, two of our officers were involved in a very serious situation. I just wanted to thank, on behalf of the rest of the City Council, the extreme professionalism of those two officers. We say that they are the thin blue line. They most definitely are. And I wanted to recognize them without having to name them. For their extreme courage and professionalism in dealing with the situation.
Councilman, I appreciate that, and I will be certain to share that with each of those officers.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy that our guys prevailed.
Thank you.
Also, Mayor, there's something I'm putting together. Of course, we're doing our arts program, and in line with that, and also with this month kind of closing up Hispanic Heritage, we're planning on doing a Day of the Dead presentation in our Stone Soup Art Gallery, which right now is, of course, our foyer. I don't know if the people who have been coming in have noticed, there's some nice black stands out there that were donated by one of our community partners. There's still some more work to be done with that. And we will be temporarily asking to move our pictures up there that greet the people that come in off the main lobby. And in its place, for a couple of weeks, starting on the week of the 27th, will be a presentation for the Day of the Dead. Hopefully everyone can come in and check it out. You'll be able to see it if you come for the first meeting in November. And I just wanted to say that this last weekend I attended a function in recognition of domestic violence. It seems like there's a lot of things going on right now, and so I'm wearing my purple for recognition of domestic violence, along with my pink for breast cancer awareness, of my wife being a survivor of breast cancer awareness. Breast cancer, that is. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you very much on that report. I would like to just take a minute, even though we have our own little situation in North Las Vegas and we're recovering, and I'm very, very proud of the direction the city is going right now. I think Darren Adair will attest, our bond rating when it was at its best has dropped 15 levels, and now we're stable and moving. He's moving us back forward, We have had some good issues. We've had some setbacks. We've had some great successes. It's been great. But one of the exciting things about being in a city council that you don't get at the state is sometimes when national things happen, they affect the local governments, where they don't affect the legislatures as much. And so one of the things I've been following just a little bit about is I'm not very knowledgeable in the healing arts. I don't know anything much about the medical trade or anything, but I do know that this Ebola thing seems to be very, very important to what's going on in the world right now. So if you live in the corporate boundaries of North Las Vegas, I think it's our city council's responsibility to make sure that if something happens, that we're prepared also, you know. So I called Kathy Story up, and we were talking about this, and she's very concerned, and they are also preparing. Like, I'm concerned, can they handle if anybody in our town has a problem there? She wanted me to let this council know that UMC would be the first responder for an individual case. That's where we're supposed to direct them. But if there's a plane of 300 people that come in with all this, then everybody then responds as a collective group, and they are prepared to help in that situation. Some of the things they're doing is they're most likely thinking that something happened, it wouldn't be the airport, but it'd be somebody catching this on the strip as they were walking by people, or, you know, it'd be more of a single incident than 300 people. So I don't want you to think that I'm worried about 300 people. But what they bought personal protective equipment. They purchased impermeable gowns so that the little paper ones we have, the moisture doesn't stick to it and then go through your skin. They've got those prepared. They've got masks, headgear, and goggles, and they're practicing putting these things on and off people. You have some nurses that are a little smaller than some big husky doctor, and they're making sure everybody's sized properly, so if they immediately have to grab things, that they've sized them. They're going to, in the next 2 weeks, they're going to have 2 disaster drills. If anybody's interested in knowing about that, they're planned. They have specific areas set up for Ebola. Isolation units are now set up and prepared for that instance if it happens. Continuing education for their staff. Now, one of the sad things about this is we're going into the winter, and that's the flu and cold season, and a lot of the same symptoms of that are also the Ebola. So they're not exactly sure, you know, what you have when you come in. So they're very, very concerned about that. They're putting signage up. It's being installed for public notifications for the ambulance companies and stuff like that. So if something happens, they can direct them to certain places and stuff. So I just want to thank North Vista Hospital and UMC for doing everything they can to prepare in the event of something happening in North Las Vegas or in Las Vegas proper. So rest assured that Kathy told me to tell people in North Las Vegas they are prepared to work and to help if this comes into our community. So I want you to all hear that. So I think that's all we have. Oh, the second thing I might mention is to the people in the audience, we have a very short meeting this evening. It's only because we thought we might have a lot of marijuana type continuation of the hearing we had yesterday, but we were able to solve the problem. So we made this a very brief meeting, so we could have stopped here and then went into the marijuana hearings again to finish them. But because of the efficiency of the staff and the council, we were able to get those done yesterday. So that's why we're having such a slow meeting this evening. So at this time, this is the second public forum of the meeting. If you filled out a blue card, I'll call your name and ask you to step forward and address the council. The first person, I did like to say, Mr. Alpert, are you still here? On public comment, on consent agenda, we don't take public comment, but if you would like to address the council, I'd ask you to come right now if you'd like.
I'll wait till November.
Okay, that's fine. Just so you knew, we weren't trying to, run over top of you there. Dr. Dove Eichelman, am I saying this wrong? I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Dove Ehrlichman. I live at 5635 Mammoth Mountain.
You write like a doctor, too.
Sorry. I came here because I have a few companies that have invested in North Las Vegas, specifically in purchasing real estate. And I'm having certain issues reoccurring all the time with the water utility. And in talking with various people at the water utility, including Romina Chapman, it was felt that I should express these concerns to council so that council can perhaps improve things for everyone. The first issue deals with tenants who pay with NSF checks due to a lack of staff. The NSF checks sit in an office here in the building for many, many months before they get put back on the account, and it results in the owner ultimately being responsible for NSF checks from 3, 4, 5 months ago, so that when the tenant eventually leaves, I'm left with a bill of many, many hundreds of dollars per tenant, and the city is like, well, we don't have enough staff. It leads to the second issue of staff, which is yesterday I had to call 20 times just to get in the queue to be put on hold. There is no direct number for corporations to call, as most utilities have for corporate customers. Instead, you're calling the same number as the public, and there's not even enough people, there's not even enough lines to put the call on hold, let alone people to answer the calls in a timely fashion. The need for more staff in that department is definitely obvious, and I hope council recognizes that that's a good revenue stream for the city, and it would be good for everyone if there was a few more people to help out, so that issues like the NSF checks or chargebacks on credit cards wouldn't go for so long. The next problem is that as a owner of the property, I'm not in a position to turn off the water, which is maddening. So the water can go delinquent for many, many months. There's no aggressive plan to shut off the water, but ultimately the owner is responsible under Title 1304-020. So the owner ends up having to pay the bill of the delinquent tenant, and the owner, who may be aware that the situation is that the water is unpaid, has no way to really do anything about it. And then the new tenant coming in can't get water established until that bill is dealt with. So the owner is left paying the bill, which puts us in a second conundrum, which is that the method in place to forgive part of the debt when there's a tenant that doesn't pay the bill can't be exercised until the final bill is closed out. So it's a catch-22. If they can't exercise closing the bill, then they can't forgive part of the bill, so you're left paying the whole bill, and this problem keeps reoccurring. To give you an idea, in the last 7 days I've had several thousands of dollars of this problem reoccurring, and as an investor that's invested over $10 million in North Las Vegas, I'm thinking whether I should continue to make North Las Vegas my focus for investment if the methods in place are not helpful to something more fair. I'm not saying not paying bills, but perhaps a higher deposit. Instead of being 150, perhaps bring it up to 300, because the reality is every bill these days with the new higher cost in water and utilities and garbage ends up being in seriously more than $300 every single time. So perhaps a higher deposit. People might complain they can't afford the $300 deposit. Perhaps a system where it can be transferred from their old address to their new address would significantly help them out. If they're current at their old address, the current system doesn't allow the transfer of the deposit. That would help significantly. Let's see if there's anything else here that I wanted to quickly mention. I don't know. That's it. I'm out of time. But thank you so much.
You're not out of time. That's very timely. We've heard this just a little bit. We have been in a tough situation with staff. It does not mean that businesses shouldn't be treated fairly. Maybe a notification to the owner or something, should be put in place, or some. We've heard this before. Randy Duvall, are you in the room? That gentleman over there is in charge of all utilities. Would you mind meeting him sidebar?
No problem.
And see if we can figure out if we've done our job right or some changes we might need to make or work towards solving some of these problems. But I will admit we have been in a position where we haven't been able to hire people.
I know it's been tough for everybody, but at the same time it's even worse when you're left with NSF checks that are months and months old, or chargebacks on credit cards, and then the owner gets a $700 water bill, and it's like, why is the service still on? And they can't turn it off.
Okay. Mr. Duvall?
Well, and I just wanted to add too, I think that part of what Mr. Duvall is going to tell you is that one of the items that we handled this evening was for the utilities, and to help with a lot of those problems that you were talking about, and giving owners more access to the accounts and things like that. So we're trying to make some changes in the right direction, and whether that will resolve all the issues that you talked about, I don't know, but I think the item 16 that we approved tonight is certainly a first step in starting to take care of some of those issues.
Can I make one final comment? Right now, the city of North Las Vegas sends out a password-coded account bill that allows owners to access through a computer system what's owing on an account. The problem is that bill requires manpower to log in and check each account on an individual basis. And even if one did find out that there was money owed, they're still not in a position to stop the utility, which would simply be shut it off until the bill's paid, which should happen with electricity and happens with everything else usually. It would be so much more helpful, instead of wasting the money on paper, postage, manpower to create that password protected invoice that honestly goes straight in the trash when I get it, to send out either an electronic text message or an invoice that says the amount on it. This account at this address owes this amount and is so many days past due. That would make that more valuable versus what's currently being offered.
We are seriously interested in your comments, and we'll get Mr. Duvall to report back to the city council members individually how he's worked with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Mr. Bouchard, Gary?
Yeah, can I make a comment concerning what this man said? Is that counting as my 3 minutes?
No. Well, yeah, but sometimes I let you have an extra minute, but don't take 2.
I'll try and make it brief. I'm tired too. I don't know why. Yeah, this problem he mentioned, that's been going on for years and years, and it seems to be a problem nationwide because I owned real estate back in Florida, and people got behind on their sewer bill, and the people that owned the sewer system would actually come out, dig up the sewer, and it would cost me $3,000 to reconnect it. So fortunately, I knew the people that ran the sewer company. I said, hey, if they get behind, I'd rather pay their bill than have to pay, through. And I don't understand the logic, because when the city takes on a customer, it should be between the city and that customer. I never understood why the landlord gets stuck with that. I think it's an unfair law. That's all I want to say about that. Okay, now, getting back, I've only been coming down here for 10 years now. Do I get 3 minutes flat, or is it 3 minutes per issue?
3 minutes per the whole time.
Okay, so because I've got multiple things here I want to talk about, but I'll just try and talk about the most
There's
important.
multiple people that want to stay here and listen to you, but for their benefit, you get 3 minutes for the committee.
Okay, I didn't. What did you say?
For the people in the audience, it's 3 minutes. But if you want to catch one of us afterwards,
okay.
you're welcome to do that.
Well, let me get this. Okay, they took it back to 3 minutes. Hey, I want to thank the Boy Scouts for being here. I think the Boy Scouts is one of the best things we have going for our young people, because I believe if you're going to learn good citizenship, you're going to learn it when you're young, or you're not going to learn it. So I'm glad they're here. And since they're here, I want to talk to them about the Pledge of Allegiance. I was saying the Pledge of Allegiance 55 years ago, and when I first started saying it, I believed everything that was in the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance has not always been with us. It came about in 1892 by a Baptist minister by the name of Francis Bellamy. He was also a Christian socialist. And for those that don't know what a Christian socialist is, it's the same as a regular socialist, except it's Christian. He based his belief system on that Jesus was a socialist, which I think he was. And he thought that the free enterprise system would eventually destroy America. I think he was right. But he figured this out in 1892. The words liberty and justice for all were originally supposed to be equality and justice for all. He had to change that because at that time women were not allowed to vote, black people were not allowed to vote, and these were very sensitive issues at the turn of the centuries because people still had this attitude women were inferior, they weren't able to vote, they weren't able to think things out. Black people were inferior, they couldn't figure things out. It was best to leave voting up to white males. So that's why those words had to be changed to keep people happy. The words under God were not added until 1948, and we can thank the people of the Knights of Columbus for coming up with that. However, it did not get official until 1954 when President Eisenhower supported a bill and signed it that made it a law that this would be the way we would say the Pledge of Allegiance. So I thought you guys might be interested in that. The reason I brought up the Pledge of Allegiance is not just because these fine young people are here. It's also about this thing, liberty and justice for all. Even to this day, there's a lot of people that are not getting the same thing under the law. And something, I know this sounds like I'm nitpicking, but 3 years ago, when the head of the Teamsters was here, before you were mayor, he came in here and rant and raved at the top of his voice at Sherry Buck, and she sat there and sucked it up. He was back here 2 weeks ago, same thing, ranting and raving. They didn't cut him off after 3 minutes, and I don't even know if he's a resident of the city. I think that's kind of unfair. And I know, maybe I'm nitpicking, but I think I have a point here. Okay, I got one other thing I want to talk about real quick. Now, I'll let you folks go home. I know you had a rough week with the medical marijuana thing. 2 weeks ago, you talked about Judge Ramsey. I want to make you aware of a couple things. First of all, she is probably one of the best judges we have in this valley. She is very, very fair, very unbiased, and very well educated. It takes 7 years to become an attorney. It takes another year to pass the bar. You have to have at least 5 years of experience to become a judge. Yeah, $220,000 sounds like a lot of money, but we've got people with high school educations that are making $220,000 working for this city. I don't know why she took so much time off. I haven't had a chance to get a hold of her. If I do, I'll be glad to ask her why she's taking so much time off. But I just want to say something, that she, in her defense, she is a absolute great judge and an asset to this community. And I'm not trying to pick a fight with you. I'm just trying to share something with you.
Well, I'll take that. I've taken your comments now. I mean, that was.
Well, I'm going to we'll cover this other stuff at another meeting.
No, that's fine. Just recognize a minute and a half, just because we hadn't started the clock. 7 minutes this time. You're running okay. All right, you got your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
I
bye.
do appreciate that interesting comment on the Pledge of Allegiance. I had never studied that or learned that myself.
I'm a wealth of useless information.
I agree with that. I've got a second on that too. I got a third on it also. Seeing that I have no more blue cards, does anybody want to give a fourth on that motion? Yeah, we got a fourth on that, Gary. Okay, I'm still with you, brother. I've still got your back, though. This meeting is adjourned.